Hello Airigami fans, this is Roger back with Airigami Tips and Tricks, and I'm still continuing my build process of the Shorts 360. I'm sorry my videos are limited to only 15 minutes. I would like to be able to share more in one video than I have been, but anyway, I had explained to you that these little 5 bladed props that I found on that Airigami model of a Piaggio Avanti P180 that I was going to make these things spin. Right now I'm going to use a straight pin to poke a hole, and I'm going to eyeball the center the best I can, and I'm going to punch a hole through the center of this 5-bladed prop, and there's one done. And the reason I have a cardboard here, I've got several cutting mats. This is my smallest one, but I cannot stand the idea of cutting up the cutting mat, so I put a piece of cardboard over top to preserve it, and I try to get these holes as centered as I can with my eye. And let's get this one punched as close to the center as we can. And that one's done, and there's my 2 holes in those. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to take the turbo prop that I've already got formed and glued together. Sorry. Anyway, I'm going to put a hole in the piece of balsa that's in there. And that's going to be, I was going to use my hand drill, but I'm thinking maybe if I just punch a hole in this as straight as I can get it, there, that would be good for that one. And I'm going to punch a hole in this second one, and let's see if I can get this done fairly straight with the eye. And there, I have 2 holes in those. And I have planned here, I have a one of these. This is a leather punch, one of the few things that my dad used to use. He collected knives, and he liked to make his own knife holsters for those knives, and I'm using this for my hobby work. And basically I'm going to take a scrap piece of cardstock, and I am going to get a backing for this. So here's a bigger piece of cardstock. I'm going to put this little piece of cardstock on here, and I picked the smallest punch, the smallest diameter of a punch, was what I want to get here. What I want to get is a couple of paper discs, and I want my disc to be perfectly round. So with that said and done, I'll get my glue applicator, which is a toothpick. I'm going to go down through here, and I'm going to see if I can get that out of there. Grab my I grab my tweezers to finish retrieving this from there, and naturally I shoved it back up inside. But I want these discs, what I'm going to use these discs for, okay? And I'll try to explain it a little better here as soon as I get this out of here. But what I'm going to use these paper discs for, and hopefully you guys are getting some ideas from these things I'm going to be doing as I build this model. Boy, that don't want to come out, so Let me continue to try to get the disc out of there. So anyway, there's one paper disc, and of course I will need two of them, and naturally I dropped my toothpick down in my keyboard for my computer. I have to retrieve it now. I keep dropping a lot of stuff into this keyboard, but anyway, I'm not going to punch the other disc out right now because I want to take the time to talk about this. This here, I'm going to use this as a backer. Once I put the straight pin through the front of the blade, I don't want to glue the blade. I want it to spin. So I'm going to put another hole in this little paper disc. I'm going to put the straight pin through this disc that's going to be on the back of the blades. That way, any glue that's going to stick to anything is going to stick to this. So the rest of it will be free to turn, because if you glue it in place, it's just going to sit there statically. It's not going to move. So I'm going to punch a hole as close as I can through the center of this disc. So I'll set that aside, but I'm going to do two of those like that, and I just wanted to show you as I build my Shorts 360. I want to give you guys the tips on how I'm doing it, so that you can use some of this. If you happen to send me an email address and get my design, then you'll be able to build it too, and maybe do some of the same things that I'm doing, as adding the turning blades versus those little paper discs that come with the original Airigami templates. So let me punch out another one of these discs. Get me another little piece of scrap. I know some of you guys, I realize you might not have a leather punch. You could just cut out a little rectangle. Makes no difference. It's not going to be seen. It's going to be behind things. You could just cut out a rectangle of the paper. This one here stayed on the card, which is, I guess, a good thing. So there. That was easy to get that one back, to retrieve it. So there's my two little paper discs. But this is just another tip. If you have one of these, or if you can have access to obtain one of these or purchase one, these leather punches are pretty good. You can cut out several sizes of little paper circles, and actually for the jet planes, you have to really be careful. Make sure you get it right over top the pattern. But for the jets, the fan blade portions of it, I don't leave them attached to it. I cut them out with this, and so far I've had a diameter on here that'll cut out most of those fan blades. The only one it probably won't shape up to is the one for the 737, because they have that odd shape to the front of the cowling of the motor. So anyway, that's my idea on cutting out disc. Use a leather punch. You'll need two pieces of cardboard so it punches through. It will not punch clear through a single piece of cardstock. So anyway, you need one of these. It will come in handy when you're making these little Airigami models. So anyway, I'm going to sign off for this video now. I'm already up to almost 10 minutes. I think I'm only allowed 15. And when I come back, when I come back to put these, when I get my straight pins, I'm going to cut these straight pins down to a lot shorter than what they are, because they don't need to be this long, obviously. If I can get it off of here. Not that it's important to show you. I think everybody knows what a straight pin is. It's sewers, seamstresses use these things. But I'm going to cut these down short somehow. I'll probably just use my wire cutters. Something. I'll find something that'll cut those. I was going to use a Dremel tool, but it'd just go flying if I cut it off of a cut-off wheel from a Dremel tool. So anyway, this is Roger signing off. I'll be back later with another video as I continue the process of assembling the Shorts 360 Airigami airplane.